Hey guys, what's going on? Daniel Strunk from QuickTime Reactions here, and I wanted to give my full show thoughts for Agatha all along, all 9 of the episodes. Now, as many people in my life know, I am a huge MCU fan. Iron Man 2 was my first one, just watching that while my dad mowed lawns. And then me and him went to go see the very first Avengers in theaters. And ever since then, I have not missed an MCU project. I'm very much of the opinion of Nice Pool from Deadpool and Wolverine, who says, I think it's been steadily great since Endgame. I think Marvel has had to, reshuffle their roster. Much like in wrestling, you have to reshuffle out your roster and get new characters in there so that people can care about these characters when, the big stuff goes down. So I think it's been a pretty fun time. Of course, there have been peaks and valleys, but everything's going to go through peaks and valleys. So, what do I think of Agatha all along? Well, I think it's a top 5 Disney Plus Marvel show. I absolutely love this. Now, for context, I'm going to go into each episode, starting with episode 1, which is like the mayor of Easttown, very much akin to the WandaVision series, where each episode was a different sitcom reality. Well, this is mayor of Easttown. Agatha is trying to figure out, what happened to this girl who was murdered, and she eventually wakes up from Wanda's spell that Wanda put on her at the end of WandaVision, and realizing that and knowing that there are going to be some very nasty people coming after her, she decides to go and recruit her coven, which is in episode 2, where she goes to find Alice Wu, Lily Calderoot, Jennifer Kale, and of course, Teen is there. And they all go, they get recruited, and they sing the Ballad of the Winch's Road, which, by the way, Lopez's did an amazing job with that ballad. That is so catchy, and it's so good. Sing the ballad, and the door appears, and they go onto the Witch's Road. Episode 3 is mainly Jennifer's trial in this Boston beach house where they drink poison wine, and they have to basically brew up an antidote in order to escape. They do, but Sharon Davis, the supposed Green Witch that Agatha recruited, who she only knows as Mrs. Hart, she ends up dying in this trial. The next trial, which is episode 4, it's Alice's trial in what is potentially a house that her mom, Lorna Wu, would have had. And this trial features a different version of the ballad. It is Lorna's version, which I think sounds really, really good and really, really cool. And the demon that shows up as the curse actually looked really cool and really, really terrifying. They are able to escape, but Teen has some shards of glass in his stomach when he got propelled through it by the curse, and so they have to save him, and they do. Episode 5, which is Agatha's trial in this tree house cabin type setting, where they have to use a Ouija board to communicate with somebody, and the person that they end up communing with is Evanora Harkness, her mother, who we saw in WandaVision episode 8. She tries to possess Agatha because the spirit on the Ouija board said you have to escape by punishing Agatha. Well, she possesses Agatha, but Alice uses some of her witch magic to try and repel Evanora out, but in doing so, shooting Agatha with her powers, she is sucked dry of her powers, and Alice dies. But when Agatha hears the name of Nicholas Scratch, which is the name of her son that we saw in episode 1. We saw the boys' room. And in episode 3, in the first trial, where she sees the baby crib and she pulls back the blanket to reveal the Darkhold being there, she obviously is traumatized by the loss of her son. But they're able to escape the cabin, and the end of episode 5 reveals that Teen is actually Billy Maximoff. And episode 6 details what happened to William Kaplan, who is celebrating, is having his bar mitzvah when the hex from WandaVision is starting to close. The Kaplans end up in a car crash, which kills William, but Billy, who of course is one of Wanda's kids, floats out of the hex and into the body of William Kaplan. And basically, from that point forward, William is just trying to figure out who he is and what he can do to potentially find his brother Tommy, which is why he seeks the Witch's Road. Episode 7, which I think is probably the best episode of the whole series, is Lilia's trial. And we get to see all the connective tissue between Lilia's outbursts that she's had throughout the season. And it leads to her trial being tarot. And she is the one that is being read. And she places all the tiles, and it is here, even though it was spoiled by Funko Pop. Funko, get your stuff together. Don't spoil stuff. Rio is revealed to be Death. And Lilia pulls the ultimate sacrifice play in killing off the Salem 7 in the tower, and she also sacrifices herself. Episode 8 sees the Earth trial, in which the remaining survivors, which are Jennifer, Billy, and Agatha, wake up in this morgue area in which they have to find some way to grow something organically. It is revealed here that Agatha was the one that bounded Jennifer, and she unbounds herself by basically casting an unbonding spell, and she gets her powers back and she exits the road. Billy, of course, is trying to find Tommy, and Death said this to Agatha earlier, you know that he's going to try and replace Tommy with another person that's alive. I can't allow that. So Death and Agatha make a deal that Billy will hand himself over willingly. So Billy is able to find Tommy a body that is going to die, and Tommy is reincarnated in that body. Agatha, realizing that a dandelion seed is in the locket with her son's hair, grows a dandelion, and she's able to exit, but she walks right into a fight with Death. And Agatha, with the help of Billy, is able to stave off Death for a little while. Agatha is about to hand over Billy, and Billy, being able now to read her mind, says, "Is this what happened to Nikki?" And Agatha literally is given a kiss of death. She gives Death a kiss, and she dies. Billy goes back home and realizes all of the clues around his room are things that he saw on the road. He, much like how his mom, or Wanda, created the hex in Westview, he was the one that created the Witch's Road. And episode 9 is a bit of an epilogue. We get to see Agatha after her trial that we saw in WandaVision episode 8. give birth to Nicholas Scratch, but death shows up, seemingly to take the child. And she's like, and Agatha says, please, I only wish for more time. And that's what death gives, enough time. So Agatha and Nicholas Scratch end up going from coven to coven, town to town, draining witches of their magic. And it is their relationship and them walking on winding roads that lead to the creation of the Witch's Ballad. But in due time, death does come for Nicholas Scratch. He is dead, and this leads to Agatha peddling the Witch's Road as a bit of a con to try and suck all the power out of every witch that is there, and was going to do it with her new coven, but of course Billy created the road, and so they went on the Witch's Road. It is revealed that Agatha is now a ghost that is not going to haunt Billy, but essentially guide him into finding where Tommy is located. And that is the spoilery, but also not spoilery nature of the season. I think overall, like I said, it is a top 5 MCU Disney Plus show. Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, especially Joe Locke, did an amazing job with it. And I was also happy to know that many of the effects on the show were practical as well. They actually built the Witch's Road set, and the backgrounds of many of the trials are like matte paintings and miniatures as well. So I think that's a really cool touch as well. But yeah, Agatha all along, I think, is a top 5 MCU show, and it is a high recommendation. Look forward to more MCU projects being on this channel very, very soon. I will have a review of What If Season 3 coming up in the holiday season. So look forward to that, and I will see you guys next time.